And let me say to my friends who are for Ron Paul, some of the things that Ron Paul's for are innovations that count. We need an audit of the Federal Reserve because nobody should be allowed to spend that kind of money. What Ben Bernanke has done as chairman of the Federal Reserve is profoundly wrong. In a free society, no one should have that kind of money in secret to spend the way they want to prop up the rich people and the institutions they pick to prop up, to pick winners and losers in secret, and that's why we need an audit of the Federal Reserve. We also need something Ronald Reagan did in 1981 and actually appointed Ron Paul to be part of. We need a new commission on the possibility of going back to a hard currency, a commission looking at gold, and we need people of the caliber of Lou Lehrman and Jim Grant. Every American should be aware that the left intends to inflate their way out of the current debt. They intend to destroy the value of the dollar by printing so much paper money that in fact the dollar loses almost all of its value as a currency. We should go in the opposite direction. We should pick up on what the governor said about retaining our AAA rating. We should be the party that says if you work and you save $1 today, 20 years from now it should be worth $1, and you should not have politicians and government stealing your value by cheating. So, on American exceptionalism, there is no choice. We have to defeat Barack Obama. On innovation versus bureaucracy, on the work ethic versus food stamps, on the entire issue of whether or not we're going to change government or we're simply going to defend all the vested interests of the left, there is no choice except to defeat Barack Obama. And finally, you come to the question of whether or not we're safe. We need an administration that has the courage to tell the truth about the people who threaten us. We need an administration which is prepared to be honest about those who plot every day to try to kill us. Now, when somebody comes back, for example, from Pakistan and puts a car bomb in New York City, it tells you something about how our elites refuse to talk about reality. That Mayor Bloomberg went on television that day and said on CBS News, we shouldn't rush to judgment. We don't actually know who's done this. Mayor Bloomberg actually said, it could have been somebody who's opposed to Obamacare. Now I checked because I'm a historian. To the best of my knowledge, in the last 10 years, would you like to guess how many car bombs have been sent by Obamacare opponents? The number is 0. Would you like to guess how many car bombs have been sent by radical Islamists? The number's a lot higher. It's a very fundamental question about being able to tell the truth about the nature of the world and about those who threaten us. Now that doesn't mean we have to blindly run off and do things that don't work. It doesn't mean we have to blindly run off and put young men and women at risk. And let me say again, in terms of the Ron Paul position, I think having a base re-examination commission for overseas basing, we've been doing it for 15 years now for domestic basing. I think it's legitimate to say out of all these bases around the world, this ain't the Cold War, and we can in fact reassess where we ought to be. My dad was a career soldier. He spent 27 years in the infantry. We had a wonderful experience here at Fort Benning, and by the way, I had a chance to go out yesterday and look at what they're doing. And the Army is continuing to modernize in ways that are amazing, that every one of us can be proud of. And the quality of the young men and women in uniform who are serving this country is just extraordinary. And if you haven't been to the Infantry Museum, you should go there. It's a remarkable national asset right here in Columbus, Georgia. But I can also tell you this. I helped found the Military Reform Caucus. I tell people I'm a hawk, but I'm a cheap hawk. I don't think we should salute waste in the military any more than we salute waste anywhere else. And we as a party have to be committed both to national security and to fiscal conservatism simultaneously. And that means we need to be prepared to reform whatever needs to be reformed. So, let me just say this in closing. We have a long history of defending freedom. I've written a book, To Try Men's Souls, about Washington crossing the Delaware on Christmas night, with an army which had shrunk from 30,000 to 2,500. Of the 2,500, one-third did not have boots. They marched in burlap bags wrapped around their feet, leaving a trail of blood. They crossed in the middle of a snowstorm on an ice-filled river to march 9 miles in the dark to surprise 800 professional German soldiers in order to save the revolution and save the cause of freedom. It was an almost hopeless task. Their password that night was victory or death. I went yesterday and looked at the Infantry Museum, which shows case after case after case of young Americans, and frankly Americans of all ages, risking everything for freedom. You need to go home from this convention. You need to say to everybody you know, everybody in your neighborhood, everybody you can touch electronically, everybody you can reach through Facebook or email or Twitter or whatever you use. You need to remind them, this isn't a game. We have today a president who I believe is an extraordinary threat to the very survival of America as it has existed. We have a Democratic Party. It's not enough for us to win the presidency. We have a Democratic Party committed to blocking us. And if you have any friends in Wisconsin, you should email them or call them before June 5th, because that referendum on Scott Walker is one of the most important events in America this year. So we have a challenge. Here in Georgia, we need to pick up at least 2 more congressional seats. We need to help all across the country to win Senate seats. We need to pick up the seat in Florida, for example. We need to pick up the seat in Nebraska. We need to win control of the Senate. We need to increase our margin in the House. We need to win the presidency. And we need to do it in a campaign which has moral purpose, which is philosophically clear, and where the American people send a clear and a decisive signal to Washington that we are determined to take back our capital, and we are determined to take back America. And with your help, we are collectively going to do it, from Governor Romney through the Senate to the House. The American people can return power to themselves and take it away from Washington, but we need to roll up our sleeves and get the job done. Thank you. Good luck and God bless you.